Okay, so today we'll be looking to find the probability of independent events. Probability. Independent. Events. And unlike the previous day where the Monopoly pieces actually foreshadowed something, these slices of pie have absolutely nothing to do with what we're doing. Okay, so two events are independent if one has no effect on the other. For example, if you shake up two dice and you roll a 12, if you pick up those dice and so let's go back to the game of Monopoly for a moment, and let's pretend I really need to move 23 spaces on my next turn. Well, if you say that's impossible, when you play Monopoly, if you roll doubles, you get to go again. So if I want to go 23 spaces on my turn, I would need to roll a 12, which is double 6, and then have that fall by 11, because 12 and 11 makes 23. So again, remember, this is what would happen with a pair of dice. I would have to roll a 12, because that's doubles, 6 and 6. And then after rolling that 12, I'd have to roll an 11. So what's the chances of that happening? Well, it'd be the probability of a 12 multiplied by the probability of an 11. And so that would be 1 out of 36, right? 1 out of 36 is a 12. 2 out of 36 is 11, also known as 1/18. And so I would have to multiply 1 out of 36 times 1 out of 18. Grab a calculator. I'm not going to do this in my head. 1 out of 648. Not very likely. Okay, so let's go back to our favorite bag of marbles. And we're going to draw a marble at random. And then we're going to look at the marble and we will record the result. But then we're going to put the marble back in the bag. This is called with replacement. So let's find the probability of drawing a blue marble 3 times in a row. Okay, well, if I want to get a blue marble 3 times in a row, well, 2 out of 10 are blue. So anytime I reach in there looking for a blue marble, if it's random, 2 chances out of 10. And of course that reduces to 1 over 5. And if I want it 3 times in a row, I end up doing 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5, which is 1 over 125. Let's do something besides the marbles here. Let's bring back our penny. Let's pretend I want to toss that penny in the air, watch it land on the ground, see what happens, and I want to get tails. And in fact, I want to get tails 8 times in a row. Well, if I wanted tails 8 times in a row, probability of tails is 1/2. So I have to have 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, right? I have to have 8 of those 1/2s. On top, the numerators, that's easy. 1 times 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 1. That's 1. Bottom, you might want to grab a calculator. I can either do 2 to the 8th power, or I could go 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, times 2, 256. And there's my answer, 1 out of 256. Lavender field. And I don't know if this is really a true photograph or if maybe this one has been edited. Obviously, the lavender should be purple. I'm just not too sure if the sky and the clouds, if that's the actual color, but you know, when you're bopping around the internet and you're looking at stuff, sometimes you aren't too sure if it's a bona fide true photograph or if it's modified.